Good evening, everyone. When you call the roll, we don't call and Ray or Blue here. Okay.
Okay.
We know they're both here, so please call the roll.
Okay. Councilmember Cousins, we're looking for him, he's here somewhere. Councilmember Fisher?
Yeah.
Councilmember Knight?
Here.
Councilmember Michelle?
Present.
Councilmember Smith?
Here.
Councilmember Tal is also on board, but he'll be back. Mayor Camp?
Great here. They're walking in right now. That's the truth. Okay, so item C on the agenda is approval of the meeting minutes from our last meeting, July 9th, as well as the council work session from July 9th. Moved by Smith, seconded by Knight, thank you both. Smith, any comments?
Yes, page 1, under C, approval of minutes, under the bullet, so correction to the correction. In the last line of that, I think that's supposed to be ideas.
Oh, you're right, thank you.
And page 4, under L4, I just want to check on that, what is it, motion Fisher, support Cousins.
I thought you were going to point out the carries, it's 2 hours.
Oh, thank you.
That's right, because there was an original motion and then it was changed. And in my notes for the final motion, or the motion to table was done by Cousins and supported by Fisher. My notes could be wrong, but
I didn't read my notes with this, sure.
I didn't know what anybody else did.
Can you double check?
Because there was an original motion and that was dropped for a motion to table.
First part of the story is I remember you said you could take it home, but I don't know if I did that.
Go back again to what page again?
Page 4. Is there L4?
There's a motion originally to compensate, and then a motion to postpone.
I think actually you did it, now that I think about it.
So just,
I'm inclined to say yes.
See, the original was Fisher Cousins, but then the motion to table, I had down in my notes, Cousins made it and Fisher supported it. But I'm not sure.
You asked to change your
It had something kind of, it was a little paper. I didn't think that.
well, the table came after.
Yeah, the original was what we were doing, and I thought it was doing one thing, and I thought it
The
was.
original was withdrawn, and then the motion to table was put forth.
I
And
believe that I did, but I'm not certain.
I mean, it doesn't make a lot of difference.
I
Same
got my
two people
notes.
involved.
I got my notes at home, so I don't verify. Anyway,
Okay, if there's.
put it that way, I'll put it that way.
Take a look at it and see if, sure. That's all I have.
Ms. Knight, any comments on this? Yourself. Other council members, comments on the meeting minutes? Okay, so the 2 corrections that we noted, ask the clerk to take her lead. To go back and look at to just confirm the motion maker and the supporter. 4. All those in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. We have no prearranged participation this evening, so we're down to approval of the agenda. I believe all that was on the agenda as additional information was the cap fee resolution, which could be supplemental information for new business item 6.
Was this L6?
Yeah, it's just an additional piece.
Moved by Fisher, second by Smith. Thank you both. Discussion on the agenda? All those in favor of approving the agenda, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries, thank you. We have no public hearings, so we are into our non-arranged participation. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak this evening about any topic on or off the agenda? Okay, seeing none, there are two standard communications in the packet, the upcoming meeting list and the sign calendar. I will note that the top two meetings on the list, the Washington Area Transportation Study Policy meeting was canceled, as was the Dexter Area Fire Board meeting on July 19th. That was canceled as well. Other comments on the two communications? Seeing none?
I was just curious, anything new from the DDA?
I was not able to attend the DDA meeting due to a family matter, but I believe they did not have a quorum. So I don't think that there's any official anything that happened, even though a small group of people might have met here inadvertently for a period of time.
Okay.
That moves us to our first report, which is our finance director, Treasurer. Marie, how are you?
I'm good, Council. How are you?
Good.
So you have in front of you the written fourth quarter report. Basically, everything was in budget. Got it. I really don't have any updates to anything that is in the packet. The only thing that has been kind of fun to do recently, because I have a kind of odd sense of fun, is the brownfield spreadsheet for the Grandview Commons. I think we got that all worked out with Washington County brownfield folks to have a good template in place. They're not going to capture, we decided that there isn't going to be any capture this year because it would have been like $1,000, which doesn't make any sense, but it's in place now next year.
What is that based upon? What you're projecting that it's going to be built by then?
No, what would have been based on what was built as of December 31st, 2017.
Correct.
Or last year?
Yes. Yes. Because it's really, it would be on the original 4 parcels without anything being built on or split or anything like that. Does council have any questions about what was in the packet?
I do.
Go ahead, Rick.
On street funds,
Yes.
I see that stormwater is at only 78%. Are we expecting to use the rest of that, or that should fall out?
No, that's from last year, so we didn't spend.
We didn't spend it, right?
What page, John?
I'm on page 17. Total street funds, 2035 right now. I'm looking at the revenue numbers. I'm looking at 445, and I'm looking at anything that ain't 100% based on her suggestion, 25% reported.
Right.
So maintenance, we were down, services, we were down, contract and road construction, we came in under. So our revenue and expenditures both came at 89, so that's 10%.
Right, and the revenue matches the expenditures of the street
Exactly.
funds.
And I think the only thing we have left to pay for with the streets is some retainage for the sidewalk project
Okay.
and the Grand Street bump out.
So we didn't not do something. Is that what I'm saying?
Right.
Double that. Okay, so we did everything we were expecting to do. And then under municipal street fund 204, are we doing, is the soft grant a 2-year thing?
3.
It's 3 years old, so even that's only half of 33%.
Yeah, that we just didn't, it was hard to know what to actually budget for, so, yeah.
So we fought so hard for that money, I want to make sure I get every percent.
Yeah, we'll have some big bills coming in from the.
Oh, I see another one here. Total revenues for water fund was 110%, huh?
It was a lot of water used.
That's another thing I'm concerned about, is we're going to have to try to turn around the wells and won't grow a million gallons a day.
I can say I had an Italian exchange student, and our bill peaked. She's gone now, so.
I have a lot of neighbors who like to wash their sidewalks.
Sidewalk.
They spray their driveway and sidewalk.
Let's see part of town.
It's funny you say that, because
Really?
actually there's an item in the newsletter about not hosing off your sidewalks. Time.
A broom would work, I don't know.
Well, actually, that's what it suggests.
Or
You know, back to
another
the-
leaf blower, but it's this thing you pick up in the city. It's something you pick up on the other, that, you know, where you got just a little smaller.
I have a hard time doing it.
So do I. But I'm not doing it.
So does Mr. Bishop. And Mr. Smith.
No, hot water goes in the walls.
You got a sidewalk? You got a sidewalk?
Dark sidewalk?
No, they don't have a sidewalk either, they just do the driveway, 100 feet of driveway.
Randy won't want to do the sidewalk with those here.
Everything's available, but at the same time, I'm looking at a million gallons a day. But if one person doesn't see that, you know, you have to look at it from a city view.
Other questions from Marie?
No, I think they're irritated around.
Is there anything that concerns you?
No, everybody else has moved on to the new year. I'll be living in this one for another 3 months, and then I get to move on.
Any other questions from Marie from council? Thank you for the good report. Appreciate it very much. Next up is our Public Services Superintendent. Dan, how are you?
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
I provide you with a 2-week report. I also have some updates on ongoing projects, so I'd like to start with questions on my report first, please.
Mr. Smith, I see your hand up.
Dan, under DPW, about the 10th item down, says change out SD card on roundabout trail camera.
Yep, we put a trail camera up to take pictures every 3 hours of the roundabout project.
Oh,
It's up at Dan White and Baker.
okay.
Is it on our website?
No, it's not live or anything, we have to have it on the card, but Justin looked it out with the cemetery to put it, so I'm gonna send the cemetery to.
And if you're
So
taking
the guys
pictures
changed
today,
out.
I didn't know it.
Yeah, the guys change out the product. It takes one every 3 hours.
Okay, but what if somebody were to go and couldn't get that?
Oh, I'm not sure about that. It's not that sophisticated.
Yeah, I mean, there probably is a way to do it, it would be much more expensive and require different equipment.
We were just
Then may I
looking-
ask what the point of taking the pictures or whatever?
So
No, we will once it's done. It's just,
Okay.
yeah, at the end, we'll compile all the pictures and
Correct.
put into a nice little
A
video.
time lapse.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I'm hoping.
It just on its own, so
We're exactly. I'm not giving them any ideas.
If you're lucky enough with that trail cam, you'll see what happens when someone tries to take a road bike through soft sand.
It's a pretty good stuff.
And then on second page 24, the first item on the, under water on page 24, sludge judge, the clear well, it has about 2 inches of what is sludge?
We have a tank, all the water comes through, it goes down to the filter plant by the DPW. Goes through an aerator, dumps into a tank, we got high service pumps that pumps it back into the system. So we'll go every 3 months and we'll make sure that there's not a lot of iron in that clear well, because when we're pumping the water we are, I'm gonna say 7, 8 years ago, we got a lot of iron out. It was pumping the iron right back into the system. So we check that and then it puts it on the report. The 2 inches of iron is at one end of the tank, so it's basically clean. Does that make sense, my explanation?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but, you know, that's better because this didn't say anything about iron in here.
Okay,
That's,
okay.
so,
I'll
that's
do a better job on it.
yeah, I just wasn't familiar with the sludge judge.
Okay, well, we use a sludge judge down at the wastewater treatment plant. That tells us how much wastewater, how many solids we have in our primary and our secondary clarifiers. But we also have a water one that we're checking that tank down there to make sure that there's not a great deal of iron in there, so we're not blowing iron back into the system.
That's good. Learn something new. Thank you.
I don't have a question on the report, but I do have a question for you.
Okay.
I know that we just finished up the sidewalk project,
Yeah.
and they did spread some grass seed around.
They did everywhere.
There were restoration that took place.
That's correct.
Some areas, the grass with the heat, and the fact that we're encouraging people not to water, a lot of those places probably are gonna need some either follow-up help by the contractor or by our staff to get grass established.
Well,
I don't know if you.
Mike,
set it up.
we've talked to Courtney about it a little bit. Right now, with the amount of watering that we have going on in the city with trees and different things, the DPW is, it's a couple-day project right now with all the tree bags. And also with not getting any help from Mother Nature. I know it's all been seeded. I talked to Mike Landry about that, but with the drought, I was kind of hoping we wait and maybe we hold some money back, possibly.
Here.
What's that?
Yeah, we have.
You know, and then we'll go from there, maybe give it another month, hopefully the rain will help us out a little bit with this drought, though, it's tough.
I just, the weeds tend to come in better in a drought than the grass does, and just so that people know what's going on.
Okay.
I don't know if there's communication to those folks or just pass along an observation.
Thank you.
Just want to mention that the contractor is back at Hudson Forest there
Part of my update.
this afternoon
Yep.
on the sidewalk.
Thank you.
Any other questions? This last Thursday, I'm going to talk about Grandview a little bit on Grand Street. Last Thursday, or on Wednesday, they put the new curb down. Last Thursday, I walked the site, and I brought Kurt Augustine with me. As we were walking the site, I could notice that from my naked eyes, I thought there was a few problems with the curb. It was too high in places, way too low in other places, which to me meant that with the way too low places, Steve was going to have to cut into the road, way into the road, to get the water to get to the gutter. And then where it was too high, the water would never reach the gutter. So I gave Steve Brower a call. He said, well, I drove by there this morning, I didn't really see your concerns. He says, well, I'll go back up there and walk it. Well, he went back up and walked it, and then in the meantime, I talked to our engineers, OHM, and tried to see what their thoughts were on it. Steve went ahead and poured the curbs and didn't notify OHM that he was doing so, which he should have done, because that'd be something that the city would want inspection from, okay? We did have somebody on site, but it wasn't the person that we needed there to be checking the curbs. They were supposed to be doing other things. So as we went through the process, Steve ended up calling GM, which was they got the contract, and then they subbed it out to Dome. So so that's when you seen Kurt down there Friday. I couldn't meet him Friday, but he was representing the city, trying to work through with OHM, Steve, and the concrete company, what they were gonna do. Today, they went down there. I don't have the footage on it, on what they had to take out, but it was quite a bit. They took it out today. OHM was there with the right person to follow behind and make sure it was where it needed to be and the heights that it needed to be. They took it out today and replaced it today, the curb on Green Street. So that's a meeting that you were noticing on Friday the 3rd.
I'm glad you noticed it this early in the project.
I am too.
That could have been a big mess.
But it does concern me, it concerns me a little bit because
Yeah.
I mean, like I was telling Steve, it's a waste of time, it's a waste of money, it's a waste of energy when you got all the people standing down there. You know, you got the contractor that should know if there's a problem. You also got the on-site superintendent that's working for Steve Brower. You know, and obviously we didn't have the person there that needed to be there from OHM, but it was concerning. And I'd like to try to, in the future, try to figure out how we could do a better job of doing it one time.
It really disturbs me.
I was upset when I called Steve, actually, because it is, we need things done right. We want our water to get off the road, get to the curb, and get to where it needs to be. But Steve also came down and he looked at it, he walked it, and he was right with it.
Oh, yeah, you had to look at his face, he wasn't happy.
Hudson and Forest, Mr. Smith, they were there today. They replaced the sidewalk on the one side. We had a small piece that we replaced down in front of Parks Peddler. And then we also had them replace a piece of curb. That way when we come through to redo Baker Road, if it didn't turn out right, we were able to come in and take out the asphalt and make that look right.
Zach, did you have anything?
Oh yeah, just curiosity, if we they're not calling for inspections, I'm assuming we're not getting material testings either of the concrete that we're gonna assume.
Well, the concrete today we did, but I'm not sure, I'd have to go back and ask our engineers.
And we're gonna, I hope, hold back some deposits so that we don't get garbage.
That might have been done, I was in and out, but I can ask that question. Thank you.
The concern that I have when you cut out curb is you no longer have one continuous piece. I'm sure they doweled or did something. to
They
try
did, they
to-
put rerod in, and they had some epoxy, but you're right.
You don't get the continuous with the rebar out through one continuous
What's
thing.
that? I don't know, I mean, the whole thing, like I said, I was upset, there's a couple things, I mean, you got, if the curb and the road aren't done right, then you got the water sitting in the seam that's gonna compromise. I mean, and then it's gonna freeze and freeze and thaw, but at the same time, we gotta come in there in the next, I don't know how many years, and do something with Grand Street anyway.
Right.
I agree with Sean.
It's good you caught it. Good job, you and Kurt.
Our water use, whoops, I'm sorry.
Alicia, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Don.
I just noticed that on the bridge, there are a couple of trees that look pretty bad. Do we have any plans to do anything to fix them on the bridge downtown? That's because you guys routed me through Parker Road. Well, I had to take my grandson to camp every day and had to go twice and look at him twice a day.
There's the one that was dead that we replaced that I think is struggling again.
Struggling
Maybe
again?
that's just a bad spot.
They're on both sides, Dan, and toward, out of town, closer to Dexter City.
Because I know, I talked to Kurt about some other trees that I noticed in the old part of town that he already had recognized and we were gonna look at, so it might be something that he had on his list that he considered.
Okay.
Good news with the water usage from the newspaper to Ms. Nichols and the newsletter and the emails. I mean, we were down to around 600,000 for Saturday and Sunday. So I appreciate all the businesses and the residents that's, helping us.
Didn't it rain those 2 days?
Not a lot. Not a lot.
Where you were.
No, that I keep bringing us stuff in for sidewalk.
Also, the roundabouts, the last report I told you that they had the water main in and the valve moved. They also have the sewer in. We still have some things, we got a TV that we put underneath the roundabouts. So that's been completed. We do have a sewer lead that we're gonna have to tie into on Dan Hoy Road, but that's gonna be another week and a half before they tie that in.
Or they aren't scheduled?
They said they were, we have another update meeting tomorrow.
Tomorrow, but
2
we'll
weeks
find
ago,
out.
they said they were.
Has there been any actual construction on the roundabout, and staked out or anything? Still all utilities?
There's a few curb stakes down at Shield. Are all the utility poles down? Some look like they're partially cut and still in the way.
They're not all down, no.
I did
They're,
not pay attention.
I think everything is off of them. They were finishing that up 2 weeks ago when I was standing there and the lines were dropping from the sky in front of me. They were finishing
Yellow hard
them up, so they're, might not be literally full, but they should be empty.
It looked like there were still wires on.
And if there are, then they might not need to be, like, they might come down.
Cable TV.
They're not necessary anymore. But as far as I know, everything is moved as supposed to be.
And also the industrial park entrance, if we've got curbs there now, I'm trying to meet with Chris Denikowski tomorrow to go over what the next steps are. They haven't pulled the island out. They still got a little bit of asphalt there. I talked to him today. Told me he looks nice, and that's why. Should work well. And then on the saw grant, we've been doing, I don't know if you noticed in my report, we did the line underneath the river. That turned out real well. I mean, there was quite a bit of gravel and rocks and things in there, but we were able to get that out. It actually was a little bit quicker than what I thought it could be. I mean, I thought it could be a week-long project and ended up being a couple days. The way we're going right now with the sewer and the song grant, it's going real well. They're sending like 3 guys out when they come out with the tractor and TV and all of that. So we're looking at possibly being done with the sewer in 3 weeks, if everything keeps going like it's going, and then we focus more on the stormwater.
I got scared to pick up the pace of my neighborhood.
Right.
Get out of there.
Did that work?
I think it did. They were gone today.
Yeah, they backed up a lot.
It's council.
Well back.
That's it. Just keep your mouth shut, for sure.
Other questions for Dan? Good job, tell everybody good job, thank you. Next up is our community development manager. Michelle, how are you?
Good evening, I'm fine. How's council?
We're going to have to get you guys to sit in a row in the order that you presented. You got one step at a time. I know, skirt next, right?
Dan just needs a name for that,
I will have that next week.
Maria will bring her some drawings.
I'll make all mine.
So before I go into my update, I have a question.
On page 25, under number 1, the 3045 Broad Street,
Yes, sir.
if we could, when we use certain terms, it'd be nice for people to put in a definition, like, because in the second paragraph there, it talks about 45 days to work on a pro forma for the project. The average person isn't going to know what pro forma means. And so when we use terms like that, then it'd be nice if we include a little definition or something in there.
Okay.
Can we have something about 3045 Broad Street?
Sure, Rick.
Hang on just a second.
Yes, give me one, John, now. I'm sure.
Just trying to be polite, following up and ask anyway.
Okay, sorry about that. Go ahead. I just wanted to.
Is there any rendition of this site from the park looking up at the building?
In some way, yes, but if you're asking from the pathway
Yes.
at the cemetery, looking up right from that,
Yeah.
no.
Okay,
There
I've seen it
is-
from the bridge.
Yes, from the bridge.
And it's
That's the
nice
part
and
of
level.
the park.
I was just wondering if there was a representation of, because they're, what are they talking about, three stories on that end down there?
On that far side, it's between 4 and 5.
Right, and then you have another drop down of another.
Right, you've got variations. But that's certainly something that we can ask them for.
I think they said they were gonna do that and then for their final documents.
As I stand outside on the dock of packing and smoke cigarettes, I look at that and Dan says, get off the dock. No,
That's next to propane.
usually behind the propane tank. I usually
And you worry about the unexpected.
I don't hear nothing. I usually listen.
But if you're obviously not concerned about the secret or the unexpected,
Okay,
okay?
I'll worry about you.
I've been smoking 50 years, you're just gonna have to give up on it. So, yeah, I'm just worried, is it gonna, I'm just curious. Because that's gonna be, of course, we're gonna do phase 2 also, so I'd try to rectify that with it's just one point on the trail.
I think the point that you're trying to make is it's, how do we visualize what that change is going to be? And there is going to be a change from that point of view. But I don't think it's going to stick out like a sore thumb. Because there has been so much work in making sure that the scale is massive, and ultimately the density will work with what's being built next to it, what's in the downtown.
Well, you know how it is, you see the plan, it looks like there's all kinds of space, but then, there's no rainbow out here, and it's like, man, it's huge, it's right to the edge of, when I looked at the plans, it didn't look that big.
Right, it's,
Now, I stood there with the dance school, wasn't when they're putting in their temporary parking, and I tried to envision that aisle that shot off of there, and I'm going, man, this is gonna be,
it's going to be,
So
it will
dense.
be dramatic, no doubt about it, it will be dramatic. But
so then you start looking at the 4 sides,
Yeah.
and then when I was down there, I was going, man,
The one thing you won't have to
That's gonna be
worry
high.
about is people in the cemetery, which is,
I don't care about those guys. I'm sure they wish
Mr.
it.
Cousins, and back Mr. Smith.
Well, it's my concern too, and when they refer to the, as they did with the spot at 150 Jefferson, says only, we're matching it across, it's down. that really doesn't make any difference. When you're standing down at the bottom, looking up. Or if you're standing on the trail across there looking up. To take and say, this is in one of those sections of bridge, the bridge is much higher than the trail. And the answer is going to be very clear. We're going to do it, and we're going to live with it. Because that's what I have to do to be violent. That's it, there's the answer. So you're going to buy it, or you're going to say, that's a dumb idea and I don't like it. And then we're past the point already. All right? So,
You're right, they're two separate concerns that,
I expressed it the other day, about what we're gonna have around that whole park area, okay? Somebody buys across the street sometime, or somebody does something with the sporting goods thing, or even our site that we have there. We'll sell that, and we'll put 4 stories there, right in front of our park. And all of a sudden, we got a park that's closed in with buildings around it that are 3, 4, 5 stories. And if you go to the opposite side, we don't know what's gonna happen over there. You've already heard that there are people that have land for sale, that they have offers. And along the creek, what happens if the American Legion really does have to sell their property, or part of it? That is a concern. But if we continually use it economically best for the city, we're gonna do it anyway, right? We're gonna do it anyway. Ain't gonna make any difference. We'll sell out, and we'll do it anyway.
Going to 150 Jeffers, there's a temporary parking there. I assume they're taking trees down, or not?
Well, remember at the planning commission, the developer had addressed that. What they wanted was to make sure they took down as few trees as possible. So in the design, we're going to do, that's what their goal is. We'll know a little bit more when we meet tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. That was one of the updates I was going to give you.
Yeah, they got it staked out already.
Yep, they surveyed last
That's what I
Friday.
noticed, yeah.
They did survey last Friday. Whether they're going to be able to save any of the trees, I don't know yet. I'll have a better understanding tomorrow meeting on site.
And is it set up for somebody to notify the neighbors what's going to take place there?
Yes, he's already been informed, he's been kept up to date as he comes into the office, but as we get moving farther along and start to know when the work will commence, he definitely will be informed, as will the businesses in the area.
Thank you.
Ms. Fisher?
yeah, when do you think they really will begin construction?
Probably September if I had to give.
I'm sorry?
Probably September. It'll be after,
Really?
it'll be after Dexter Days. But I would think it would probably be September.
They have to do that forestry lot before they start,
Right.
before they
Right.
will start.
Right.
And they still have to get their construction drawings, preliminary zoning compliance for the building. Well, one will not mention the lot. And they have to get the construction drawings for the building itself. They have to get those in, and they have to also get those reviewed by the building. So that's
A while.
at least 30 days. It's definitely going to be after. The parking lot could be started for construction before Dexter Days, but that shouldn't shut down everything like the construction of the building. All right, so on 2865 Baker Road, at your last meeting, you directed the city attorney to go forward with prosecution. And one of the things that he had contacted me about is we have to have some way of, Mr. Stringer, I'm sorry, Tom Stringer, some way of issuing a citation. So what we did is I did a ticket, even though it's can't be delivered to somebody. What that ticket does is it gets taken to the court and it's being used as a way to request a formal hearing. So I should know within the next 2 days, maybe 3 at the top, what that formal hearing date will be. The court will set that date once Tom gives them the citation. They will then set the date and they will inform the property owner. So
Any further communication with the property owner?
have not had any further communication, haven't heard anything. I'll go out there since we have the meeting at the temporary lot site tomorrow. I'll then go out and take a look, see if anything else has been done or not done. They have not contacted me, so maybe they just continue to mow the grass. That piece of it.
Mr. Reynolds?
I heard from the person that is buying one of the properties on Grandview there. From Mr. Brower, that Mr. Brower is interested in buying the property and just taking it down. Have you heard that?
I have not heard anything like that. I have repeated to both, to Allison, that as we're going through this due process that has to be gone through, excuse me, that to please consider either putting up a fence, a privacy fence with proper permitting, and/or a landscape screening, or provided them with the information for the property owner and say that you want to even try and purchase it from them.
Well, I think Mr. Weber also expressed an interest as well.
Right.
It would give him the same.
I have not, but I can do that.
I think it's important to treat everybody
Okay.
equally.
I don't think Mr. Brower was interested in developing as Mr. Weber was. I think he was just interested in getting rid of it so that it didn't have it right next to his buildings.
I thought that when Mr. Weber was here, unless I misunderstood what he said, that he would take that house down too. But
Yeah.
On the, to continue on with the 150 Jeffords, the developer has made the contribution to the parking fund, so that $85,000 was deposited last Friday. And that is it for my updates right now, other than I will be coming to you with an update on a meeting that I had with Northern United last week, Thursday or Friday. As you know, from the time they talked about the tasting room when we first went out there, eventually they might want to have outdoor seating. Excuse me. It's not something they want to do right this second again, but they did want to walk through what an eventual process would be. And I want to make sure that I really document it carefully, because as a special land use, restaurants are allowed within the park, but that's a special use. As a permitted use, you can have accessory uses, structures, buildings to principal uses. So I want to make sure that I really investigate that thoroughly and provide the different options, not just to them, but to also, so that also both planning commission and council understand what the directions could be, what the alternatives are, in order to make know what direction we're going. Okay? And that's it. That's all I've got. Unless you've got any other questions for me.
Follow-up questions from Joe?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I believe we are down to city manager report. Courtney?
We have a mention that we're going to do a newsletter, so we completed that draft. And the only other things that are covered besides what's listed in the report are elections, different ways to pay utility bills, an article about the road projects, information about 3045 Broad, and summer taxes. So we should have that hopefully ready to go to the printer by the end of the week. We did mail out the new one-page bills, so hopefully people like those. And we've also emailed the new version of the bill as well. So it went out last week.
What you did for us last time, just before it mailed out, sent us an email copy.
Yeah.
So if we get calls or anything about anything,
Yeah, once we have the final proof that goes on the website.
thank you.
Oh, yeah, we're just talking about the industrial park signage. If council's okay with us sort of reaching out to the businesses to get their feedback, or whether they have feedback on entryway signage, and maybe doing a wayfinding signage like we have at the Dairy Queen parking lot, where you point, them in a certain direction.
Of all the businesses in that park.
Yeah, we were just gonna send a letter asking if they had any thoughts on what they'd like to see for entryway signage. And whether they want to participate in that kind of wayfinding sign. Because the Dairy Queen one, the city paid for the sign and then the businesses paid for their nameplates. That's how that works.
So would that be after you come in?
That would be, right. The entryway signage, I'm thinking probably gonna end up being in like Matco right away. Most likely, I would think. But we kind of figure out how, just to try to include them in the topic. We can cover the waste management stuff. I don't really have too many other updates.
I know what's coming back with waste management and equipment. I had a bunch of stuff I wanted to get rid of, so I've been seeing these ads of Dexter and waste management. You just bring in and put like 3,500 pounds of stuff in it, So I went out to Lowe's and bought one, talked to the guy about it, said, how much are they? They're $31 plus tax. And he says, and it doesn't cost you anything. I said, no, I'm sure it costs you something, so.
Then you're not gonna pick that up.
Yeah, right, nothing, so I knew that already. I said, so I went home and I talked to my son and we opened it up. And when you get inside the bag, there's information that they don't pick it up everywhere.
Yeah, they don't pick it up in Dexter.
They don't pick it up in Dexter.
They don't.
But they didn't bother to tell me that.
At the Lowe's.
At Lowe's, in fact, they can pick it up anywhere, okay, he told me.
Yeah.
It's just called them and do it. It's not even a company of waste management. They only use waste management's name
Oh.
in this process, okay? They're a completely separate company. So would you please transfer that package, even though I said my waste management person lives in Dexter, and I live in Dexter, and no, they pick up in Ann Arbor and Ypsilanti, they don't pick up in Dexter.
Yeah,
Or any out county area.
Joe Somavero just
Oakland
asked
and
about,
Macomb County pick up the whole county, but
Joe Somavero asked about that, a couple months ago, and Pat said the same thing, that they don't pick up in Dexter at this time. Talked about maybe that expanding here, but it just hadn't happened.
Joe needed 2 bags.
Holy cow.
No, I'm teasing.
No, I thought, well, this would be easier than getting one of those dumpsters,
Oh, yeah.
quick and dirty, get rid of it. I measured, the distance I had to be away from the house, the height, the way to get under the tree, and still get there and do all of this. The garage, I had it all set up,
Take it back to Lowe's?
Oh, yeah, yeah, and my neighbor says, well, you want to take all the crap to it, just dump it in Lowe's yard? I said, I don't think I want to go with that. I said, yes, but they did take my bag back and apologize for their, but it's bad PR for waste management. It's bad PR. How did Joe find out? And they didn't pick up?
He's driving. They put it rid of it also, he explored it, so.
Yeah, and he asked if they did or not.
Yes.
Oh, well, see, when I asked the guy, didn't he think if he could charge, pick it up?
That might be something you want to mention in the newsletter.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, it wasn't the end of the world, but it still needs to be taken.
Or a future one.
Yeah, we have a lot of
Yeah.
recycle stuff in this.
Well, that's why I see stuff on and the ditches.
Or even in your email.
Any other questions, report? Good report, thank you.
Oh, I did have one other thing.
Mr. Tom?
Too late.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Didn't we talk about repaving the road going from the industrial park on the pavement?
We
Did
decided the school we're gonna do.
we? Yeah,
We did briefly.
we talked about it, but we didn't proceed with that, or we needed the.
No, we spent the money on the island.
Instead?
Yeah, that's kind of what I focused on instead. Plus, with the way that the walkabout residents have been inconvenienced, I wasn't really looking to add to that, so.
I just thought.
Yeah, I don't even know if the school, yeah, it would have been a little bit more coordinated with the coordination, you know, with the school for the roundabout project, so I figured the island was the better option.
Right, I just figured we could do half a Manhoy Road totally.
Yeah, quite a bit of it will be done by the school. I mean, if you've been down there, you see that the limits are pretty far, so if we do go back in there and do that, it would be, maybe like we were doing Dexter Crossing, those Bristol and that, maybe knock that out. That's, I guess, is a topic for L5.
I just thought, like, when I got everything ripped up, I just want to do it all.
Right.
Okay, I'll jump into my report a little bit, try not to be too long. A month or a week ago, we met with Pat Greavy from Waste Management. You know, their contract, if you will, is set to be renewed, or I would say current one expires in February, I believe, of the 2019. And so as we have in the past, we've always talked to Pat ahead of time to see, you know, what's he thinking, where are we going. We've had waste management for a long time here in the village/city. And Pat talked about some of the trends and challenges in the industry. And I tried to write those down as best I could briefly in my report. And they have trouble getting drivers. They have trouble finding people to walk along behind the trucks. And ideally, they'd like to switch to the one driver automated pickup, which you've seen probably in other communities. We don't have that here, but that's the trend. But obviously, there's a cost to that, and it would require that everybody has the same type of container. Interestingly enough, Pat thinks about a third of our residents have that type of container already. They rent it specifically from waste management.
The big ones that they can pick up with
The big ones that they can pick up with the rent. And that's his observation, that's his number, you know, looking around as he goes around. You know, Pat does live here in the city, so I don't know that I paid that close attention to validate or not validate that number. But there are likely changes, you know, to our service coming in order to keep up with the trend. Yes, and he wanted to start talking about those things, and he does the topic much more justice than I do, or Courtney would. What we thought we would do if it was okay with council to have Pat come and do maybe a little workshop, you know, here in either August or September, and let him talk about the trends and challenges and what he sees and what he thinks, you know, might be worth thinking about. Again, in the past, we've done questionnaires about our service. Remember, we picked up things, but the whole idea is, and it could be a future newsletter article, is to get out in front of this topic so our residents understand sort of how the industry is changing a little bit. You know, obviously, when you're coming up to a contract renewal, in order for him to know whether it should go up or stay the same or whatever, he sort of needs to know what's the long-term direction of that and how we feel about it. In addition to that, Courtney and Justin talked to him about just the challenges that they are experiencing in trying to collect everything in one day here. We all know that they moved from Friday to Monday with the idea that they could be more efficient in doing that. If they miss something, they would do it on Tuesday as opposed to trying to figure out how to get back out on Saturday. Pat expressed that he thought that ultimately we were better served by doing a 2-day collection here, than doing half on Monday and half on Tuesday. And that would help him both from a cost perspective and in not missing anybody or not having people come home at 6 o'clock and wondering if the garbage is going to get picked up when in fact it may or may not by 8 o'clock or something. So, I've urged a lot of topics there, but he's got a number of those types of topics that he wants to talk to us about. I think the message that Justin and Courtney conveyed back is that with the exception of a few jokes maybe here at council, nobody's really complained at all about moving to Mondays. That was
They're alone.
still
I think Zach still does.
but it's been very, very well received for the most part, as a change.
When they were talking about 2 potential days, is that part of the town one day and part of the town the other day, or
Yes.
you get your,
No, part of the town one day, part of the town second.
okay. Not, you wouldn't get,
I mean,
you would not get just your
No, it's going
garbage
to be
picked
like,
up and then leave your garbage and then.
no, it'd be
The whole-
all of your own personal curbside collection on one day and all
I
those.
knew you did.
But I guess I tried to write a little bit about it and wanted to update you on it. If it's okay with you, what I'd like to do is bring Pat in for 45 minutes or something before a meeting, just have him go over that, and you can ask the direct questions yourselves and help.
I'll save my action questions.
There you go, yeah.
Give them a chance.
Michelle and I did have a conference call with the representatives of the redevelopment ready communities folks at MEDC on July 11th. What Michelle and I didn't pick up on is they only scheduled us for half an hour, and as we got in to talk about stuff, they quickly said, oh, we've got another call to make, and we hardly got into any discussion. So they volunteered to come out and see us last Friday, and about 15 minutes before the meeting was supposed to start, they sent an email saying they had to turn around with the numbers coming, had something come up that, anyway, so we haven't met with them. That meeting did not take place, the one physically that I know that on July 20th.
So that's not a best practice, I think.
no, it's
Apparently not.
fair practice, typically.
But to be fair, the one, Michelle's son, you'll remember Michelle Parton, her son had some shots the day before, and the doctor had warned them that there may be an adverse reaction, and as they were driving here, sure enough, she got a call, and so they had to go back, so.
May I ask what the intent of the discussion was, Commissioner?
Well, just to talk through some of those, things that we've now seen twice in both of their, what do they call it, community findings report.
The baseline report.
Baseline report, that I maintain that the program doesn't have to be a one-size-fits-all program. They're, a 2-tiered approval approach, why is that a problem? They'll talk about some of those types of things.
I never did like people.
I'd say we're reading it.
We're trying to get to know them and let them know our intent, and
Here
there'll be another meeting. I don't have anything else to add. The only thing that included in my report that I omitted unintentionally was I did meet with Bev Hill and manager meeting last Wednesday. And they were talking about the future of Lord Hall and
You're voting yes?
actually, depending on who you ask, there's some yeses on that side, but I told them that's not really something we're driving towards. There's really no benefit for us whether it's there or here. They just want to know how can they program the future uses of that facility to better the community, more or less a brainstorming. Obviously, 2 nice people, and I know most of you know them, so. They asked a question, when they're filling out grants, how can they say that they're tied to the city? And I said, well, technically you're not in the city. I said, we did donate years ago. I said, but you used to have a board of some type, I can't remember what it's called, the Board and Hall Committee or whatever, where we were asked to have a representative. I said, at that time, you could have said, we had a member of our team sit on your team, participate in your team. I said, you guys did away with that committee, so there with the representative, now we're just neighbors, right? So it was that kind of discussion. All in. Good. Any questions from me or anything? Okay, let's move on to page 3 of the agenda, which is the consent agenda.
Will be approved the one item listed on the consent agenda, bills and payroll in the amount of $206,372.41.
Motion by Fisher. Second by Smith. Wolf. All those in favor of approving the bills and payroll, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. We have no old business, so we're now down to our 7 new business items. New business item number 1 is consideration of a bond authorizing resolution for wastewater treatment plant project improvements.
I'd like to make a motion, but I want to know what motion I want to make. Okay, where's that plan?
You're just adopting the resolution that starts on page.
58.
That's what I wanted to know.
Second.
Later on, page 58.
Yeah, 58, yeah.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Cousins,
58 to 74, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Correct?
second by Michelle, was it?
Yep.
Wolf? Okay, Courtney, you want to say anything here, fill in the gaps?
Yeah, so this is hopefully the culmination of the work on this project. 3 items kind of go together, but just need to be adopted separately. The bond authorizing resolution, the bid awards, and then the FFP engineering proposal for their construction engineering services. So council wanted us to go back and talk about what we wanted to keep in the project, what we could remove from the project. We did that. Staff know FFP did that. That final list is in this memo. We don't feel like any of those changes sacrifice anything for the future and get us closer to our bond amount. So the project amount now is like 5.66, I think, and so if we get an extra above the 5.5, we use reserves for that. I mentioned some things that we'll have outstanding in the future, which is why we kept a higher cash reserve. So that's why that information was included. Yeah, and then I just listed out the different items. So it's a large project. It's definitely the largest project since I've been here, which is 11 years. I would say that no other project that I've worked on has had more intensive staff involvement. That's why Eric's here, Dan's here, to kind of see this through. It's been a big team effort.
The original bid coming in.
The original bid was like 6 something.
Correct.
Mr. Cousins?
So let me, I'd like a couple questions up. From the, I didn't, for the, whoever wants to ask a question, answer a question. From the original inception of that this was a potential need project identified by the staff, I'm assuming, and discussion, give me the time frame from when that started till now.
Well, we had them do the, what did you call it, like preliminary engineering or scoping it, right? And that would have been, do you remember when that was? A year ago? So going back to how it started was, Dan and I had conversations for 5 years, 6 years about the screw pumps. What were we gonna do with the screw pumps? Slowly one went down, then the other one went down, and we didn't want to just replace them because it's such a huge expense, and there's a better way to do it. But we couldn't do what we wanted to do with the submersible pumps on this large project. And then we also had the kind of parallel issue of the permit and the tertiary treatment issues, and we weren't going to be able to deal with the new TIMBIL limits with our current tertiary treatment. So those kind of came to a head at the same time. So FFB did the study of both sides of the plan, ends of the plan, I should say. I want to say that was about a year ago. We finished it, I think, a year ago. So maybe a year and a half ago we started it. Because it took about 6 months, I think.
So from, I know this has been going on for a while, we've had the issue with the screw pumps and all that, so basically from the time that we started with Ebony, it's been about 6 months from when they got involved until
A year and 6 months?
a year,
It's been about a year since.
About a year.
He's been on the road.
about it.
But it's been an ongoing conversation for a number of years.
Boy, I agree with that.
Pumps, tertiary filters, what we got going.
Dan sent me emails back in 2011.
Say it again.
Dan had emails going back and forth, back to 2011, trying to rehab the screw pumps and back and forth.
Same problem.
In regards to screw pumps and, you know, Paul, you know how long the filter and that typical issue's been going on.
Yeah.
Decades,
15 years.
so.
And then it's finally kind of getting wrapped up, though, I mean, it's still in the fields, but.
Okay.
One of the things on page 45, if you go three-quarters of the way down under the rate study bond payment estimates, the rate study shows 7% increase. If you read through that, that should have been 2018, not 2008.
Okay.
The 2008 projects. Correct?
Yeah, this 2018, the last of the original equipment.
1977.
So that was part of the cost to benefit that helped steer us away from rehabbing the screw pumps again. As history's proven that the city's been doing that about every 15 years. And those screw pumps, I believe the last value we got, just to purchase one replacement screw pump was $250,000. And that's not installation or construction, no engineering, that was just the equipment. So this project kind of evolved from that with a focus on cost to benefit and future efficiencies. So the new pumping station, for instance, that will replace the screw pumps, those pumps are in stock at our pump supplier in Wixom, and they run about $10,000 to $15,000. So should we experience a lightning strike and every pump goes out, we can make a phone call and in 6 hours have another pump delivered and installed. So that was one of the forward-going benefits of the project.
I was just trying to figure out timing-wise, I know that we had talked about this, maybe you should have been there for a while. I just want to figure out, from day one to now, the actual official actions have been about a year. Thank you.
Zach, did you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify. This resolution has us ramping up the payments, so we have a little more into it, right? And the first 10 years, it's not, I'm going to screw up the term here, but we can't make early payments to close it off. But after that, here's 11 to 20.
Correct, so the bond is callable, is what
That's
we're looking
the-
for,
yes.
until, for 10 years, correct? And then you can then pay down as much principal as you want after that.
$25,000.
Yeah.
And I presume we are looking to auction off our screws.
I don't know what the salvage plan is for all that stuff. Is that just the contractor gets rid of it?
I didn't hear the question.
We've had good luck auctioning things that had no value before, so I'm curious if there's a value for auctioning off.
Well, there are no plans to auction off.
Yeah, Zach, I'm more than happy to take some pictures and write up a description. We'll get it on there and see if it goes anywhere. I don't think it costs us anything.
Good thinking.
Yeah, I mean, you never
Ray, you
know.
had a hand up, and then back to Jim.
Oh,
I did. Wanted to talk about these recommendations to accept the bid with the following changes. You delete the influent flow splitter structure and accessories. How does that, other than a cost, what does that do to negate the efficiency of what I'm doing right now? Or was this just something that's, is this gonna harm me later on down the road? And what is it really? What does it do that I don't need it anymore?
Well, currently, it's just going to operate exactly how it is now. What the goal of that structure, the purpose of that structure is to allow the operators to more precisely split flows evenly between the two primary clarifiers. Plus, it was also set up for future, if you had expanded and added 2 more clarifiers, it was 2 more primaries, it was set up for that as well. So essentially, what it's doing now, by taking it out, is you're just going to be operating the same way you are now.
Any added in the future?
It can be added in the future, yes.
I understand the Allen Bradley programmable logic stuff, cheaper, same thing. What's the, why do we, is it cheaper to go to a Hydro International grit removal system, or?
Well,
I'm just trying to understand these, recommendations for changes.
Sure. The original base bid is the head cell unit by Hydro International. The cost difference came in, reduced cost difference came in using a different type of control panel for that unit.
Okay.
And also using a different way to wash and classify the grit that came out of the actual unit that captures the grit.
Is there a big change in operational efficiency between the 2 models?
The original grit classifier and washer it has a little bit better capture efficiency. The unit that we're proposing to use now is a little less. The original is 75 microns particle size, 95%, 75 micron particle size.
Right.
Now we're at 106 micron. So it's a little bit less efficient than the Vortex unit we were talking about at the workshop. That one would be around 300 mesh, which is larger. So this unit that's proposed is still going to do an excellent job of capturing the grit. As we put in there, I think we use the term premium, it's still a premium system.
Right, I just want to make sure, you know, we set a standard, we were looking for a certain standard. Now I'm not going to say my standards have been lowered, but my choices have been lowered based on my standards, my original standard selections. So I just, I'm all for saving money and all that, but I don't want this to affect anything further down the line. Everything we were looking at previously above average? And these are just average, or?
Very operationally, that second unit that we're recommending is a preferred unit in my mind. It doesn't have some of the bearings and some of the other things that we've seen fail in the other units, so while it might not be as efficient.
Yeah, I don't want to sacrifice cost to come in for.
I understand, but you make the gadget so fancy that you can't use it, that it becomes, a problem as well, so.
Right, that's why I'm trying to differentiate between the, $100 grand, I want to see what the hell's so much different, I mean, what's so much less, $100 grand less? And how does that full splitter affect my overall function now and in the future? So these are all based on my staff also?
Absolutely.
Is my staff comfortable?
Very comfortable.
Oh, okay. I mean, I know it's going to be better than it is, but I'm not always about what it is now and 20 years after I'm dead, so I don't have to hear about it.
We're not doing a 10-year project or a 5-year project when we put this.
I mean, I know we can drag it out, we got stuff there from 77, it's no problem for us to drag it out 50 years if we want it. I don't want to do that, I want stuff to be able to shoot in and out, I want stuff to run efficiently, and I want it to run long.
Well, the way that we do our preventative maintenance and our maintenance sounds will make a huge difference.
You think the maintenance will help quite a bit with this?
Absolutely.
I'll let it go.
Ms. Knight?
I just had a simple question. This is upgrading our current system. We're not expanding it in any way, correct?
Correct.
I have no idea the level that service schedule, better than I like the schedule on 456 over 54. Because of 56 versus 54.
Oh, 56.
And because it saves $1,000 in interest. I realize that we're getting higher payments. couple of years. I guess my question to staff or to the finance director or somebody is,
I'm sorry to hear.
The issue is that we didn't raise rates enough to do it this year, so if we wanted to do that, we would have to go back and raise them again, I guess, or the rest would be here, because I based everything that we did for the budget on the phase-in. So basically, it's just a matter of how high of a rate council is comfortable having. You know, I wanted to keep it at 7%. I don't want to spend half fees to make up the bond payment because we might need the cash, especially because of the threat of using so much of our bonding capacity. I'm not comfortable spending down a lot of cash. So we can add more principal if council wants to do that. I just need to know. It doesn't have to go in the bond authorizing resolution, and it's not set in stone, but it needs to go in our official statement that was issued Thursday. So council would need to give that direction today if you want a difference.
Yeah, my understanding going forward was it's a little higher interest over the life of the bonds, but we still reserve the ability to make early payments later in the schedule. But up front, we're saving capital for other needs like, you know, the additional equipment as far as blowers, clarifier drives, any sewer lines or things that happen out in the collection system. You know, we're still keeping ourselves a good cushion through the project and everything else to support unforeseen events.
I mean, it can be structured any way the council wants. I mean, it can't be any less really in principle than it is now, but.
well, no, I'm not suggesting less.
I know, I'm just saying that it can go in the opposite direction. Fine, if council wants to add more, just tell me what you want and I'll do it. And we'll make it work.
Page 54 is recommended.
The one that's included in the bond authorizing resolution, yeah, is on page 54. The street level debt service is page 56.
I'm personally happy with 54.
Well, I don't know about what we didn't do for 7% this year. I thought that's what we raised the fees, but I know there's $900,000 projected to be in cash at the end of the next budget year.
Right. Which is within our goal amount.
Okay, it just seems like it could be tweaked differently than it is. Maybe it's not the full level scenario, but it seems like it could be tweaked. Like, I mean, none of the things that you want to use or spend money on that are listed on the next page. And they don't total anywhere near 900,000 I think we could save some interest on it. Is my view. But I throw that out there, I guess if everybody else is comfortable.
I mean, I probably wouldn't add anything so that we don't have to change anything this fiscal year, but, I mean, I guess I can move, I think next year's payment, next year's payment's like 250 and then 350 and then 420, so I mean, I guess, I can make that, 300 and just then take it to the fourth, whatever would be the next year. No big deal, I guess.
Well, if there's things like that aren't a big deal, let's say it's interest, I would do it. It just saves us money on the life thing.
And I wasn't doing it because I wanted to cost us more money, I was just trying to not have to raise rates.
You've already told the people to raise that, right?
Well, we're not gonna have to change them to do this anyway, because it's not like we're gonna do any of these other projects at the same time, or else we'd have wrapped them into the project, which is gonna take 18 months. Okay, well, if you're willing to tweak those, I would, comments? Okay, so we have a motion by Cousins, second by Michelle, to approve the bond authorizing resolution, which is $5.5 million.
The amendment, or the motion have to be amended to make the change?
No. Tom Pola said that, the amounts in the bond authorizing resolution are set in stone, they're set, that's until the bond sale process are done.
Thank you.
Okay, please call the vote.
Michelle?
Yes.
Knight?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Tell?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Cousins?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes. Motion carries. The business item L2, which is the follow-up action, consideration of the bid awards for the wastewater treatment plant project.
Move to approve those and exhibit A on page 49 of the packet.
And I'll second that.
Motion by Michelle, second by Cousins. Thank you both. Exhibit A.
47.
So page 49, right?
Yeah, 49 is the actual.
The comments we need to, the comments from staff or any comments? When will we know the bond issuance cost?
After the bond issuance, after August 8th.
What's the variable there?
Something with the, if there's a premium, there is something in the type of the sale. You know, the attorney costs all of that, but he gave kind of like a worst case for it. There's some additional expense based on it could be quite a bit lower, actually.
And anything that's not spent there will just flow into contingency?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Questions by council? Okay, seeing none, please call the vote.
Tell?
Yes.
Cousins?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Fisher? Yes. Knight?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes, motion carries. New business item L3, consideration of proposal from FMV Engineering for construction engineering services. Motion by Fisher, second by Smith. Thank you both. And that is, not to exceed 186.5.
What page is that on?
77.
You guys will work hard not to use all of it. Please. Gotcha. Any questions? The workshop we had a week ago, or 2 weeks ago as well, but a lot of this. No questions? Call the vote. That's it. Please call the vote.
Fisher? Yes. Michelle?
Yes.
Knight?
Yes.
Cousins?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Tell?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate the good work on that. New business item L4 is consideration of the Trailblazer sign for outdoor musical theater. Second. Motion by Fisher, second by
They have
Michelle.
to be blue. Most of our stuff is green. Who was the second? I'm sorry.
Michelle's, second.
Seriously, I mean, most of our stuff is green, poles, whatever, and theirs is black and white, and it's easy to see. Do we have to have blue?
Oh, you mean
The
the,
background to it. Yeah, if you pull it, it says it'll be a blue sign.
blue background on a white, that's that little part. The little arrow one.
This one right here. That's what it's on, that's what we-
Michelle, is it possible that the arrow is on the first sign, just below the?
Yeah.
I mean, is there a reason why the Encore Musical Theater Company couldn't be shifted up into the top 2/3 of the sign and the arrow is below it? So instead of putting 2 signs up, we only put 1?
I can find out for them. I assumed that it was, like,
It just seems like there's a lot of blank, unused space.
I can certainly ask.
Because it doesn't seem that there would be a separate logo. On page A2, it says Encore Theater and then the logo, but it seems that we already have the logo.
So
That is the logo.
this is the logo. This is
Right.
what the encore
Right,
portion
so
would
there's
be.
plenty, should be plenty of room for the arrow.
And just have a white arrow there. Okay.
Of course, has to be
It's that-
determined what Encore, then where do they go?
Makes sense to me. They don't care.
I
Is it
certainly can
time
ask
to run
them.
to the desert
Is-
and move forward to Lockout?
Right.
Well, it's just one less sign to maintain it smaller.
Well, that parking lot will be there though.
Yeah.
The new park.
I'll tell you right now, they got left arrows, right arrows, and they got somebody who prints the sign, and they don't want to put anything else on the sign's standard size.
Well,
And get it ready.
We can, I certainly can find out. Do you want to make your motion to approve it subject to that, if it's possible? And if not, then,
Then it has to come back then.
or approve it the way it is. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Approve it subject to finding out if the arrow can be placed here. And if not, would you be okay with it being that way, or no? I'll push for it
The
this
arrow,
way.
8 inches high.
Unfortunately, signs have a nice thick book in the US, the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices, that say how high things have to be, what font it is, how big the font has to be.
This isn't traffic control.
It's within
based on the
the,
traffic
it's within the
control.
manual, it's a transit-oriented design. Transit,
It has to be big enough so.
Tourist oriented.
Make sure it's big enough so people can see it.
so as a sector of the motion, I would be happy if we can try to get it a little bit smaller, because that is a lot of sign height.
So yeah, it's what, 20, 30, almost 3 feet high.
So if we could get it smaller, I'd be very happy for that. If we can't, which I would be surprised if we can, I'm comfortable with that. And thank you for getting it on a light post instead of having another thing smacking the ground.
When I asked, they were right away, yeah, you can do that. Okay, that's great.
But I do have a question. What is the term of this permit? Is it indefinitely or is it year by year?
So once you've approved it for them, they have to renew it every year with Michigan logos, but not necessarily with us, unless that becomes a condition of approval.
I would throw out there that there is some term that is not out there indefinitely for discussion.
Yeah, if you want to get rid of it for any reason, you kind of want to be able to get rid of it.
Or if they don't renew.
Oh, yeah, if they don't renew, it comes down.
Yeah, but how would we know?
Because logo signs will let us know, because they'll take it off the freeway, and they'll take it off. They're not keeping something up that they're not getting paid for.
Oh, so they will maintain it,
Mm-hmm.
or refreshing.
Okay, so there's a motion by Fisher, second by Jellis. I think what I heard is that we'd like to try and get 1 sign, but we're not holding up if it has to be 2. Am I correct in that?
That's okay.
Yeah, I'm not in a hurry, I don't care if we do it. I don't know what makes it easier for you to try and get it changed, but do you think is best?
I'll make the call tomorrow to find out. If you want it to come back to you, I'm happy to bring it back.
It does appear to be an acceptable format to have the sign with an arrow, according to MUCC.
And let's make it a condition.
I agree. It's acceptable. All right.
Okay, so the motion is one sign, zero on sign. Right?
Subject to finding out the placement of the arrow and to inquire by 18-inch sign rather than 2 signs. One sign.
Okay.
Throughout the process.
Okay, any questions on that? Please call the vote.
Smith.
Yes.
Michelle's.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yep.
Tell.
Gus?
Knight.
Yes.
Cousins.
Yes.
Keel.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you, Michelle, for working on that.
Thank you very much.
New business item L5, discussion of prioritization of street fund projects. Not just street fund projects, but street fund. We're going to turn this over to you. Okay, right.
So once we finish Central Street in 2019, we don't really have anything programmed out past that point. So we wanted to start that conversation so we can figure out what we might want to do maybe the next 3 years would be nice. Included our updated pacer ratings map, so there's the 2008 map and then the 2018 map so that you can kind of see some of the progress that's been made on the roads over the last few years, which has been, we've done a substantial amount of work. We've had, if you look at the surface conditions below by lane miles, you can see that we've done a good job of, keeping our fair roads in fair condition, not so much letting them drop. It's a little bit different than what you've seen before because we've switched up the scale a little bit, the breakdown from 1 to 4, 5 to 7, 8 to 10. So in some previous versions, 4 only went to 3, so 4 was not considered core, but anyway. So I made a list of all the pacer ratings 2 or 3, and then we also had a conversation about potentially doing like an every other year new sidewalk project. And so I listed the ones that are currently in the CIP and then called out the ones that someone has asked about recently. So Forest and Second have been things that are running fast about sidewalk.
So there's not one of these.
Right, especially, yeah, Forest for sure, yeah, and then Second.
They could work on Inverness and then Dexter and Armour. What will they do with the lot that just slopes right down to Patrick South? They like put a bridge in there?
Say,
That road drops down. I mean, you put a sidewalk on the other side. There's one on across the street from me. But on this side, you've got that lot just drops down. But do they put in like a wooden bridge or something to get across that? How would they do that?
So some of that stuff we can't really answer, just so
Okay.
like if council decides, so the goal would be that if council said, okay, kind of comfortable with, let's say, these 3 streets and these 3 sidewalk projects to just like get a cost back, and then we could look at just generally what the cost would be to make sure that it's something we could do in 3 years. So,
yeah, I'm trying to go with the ones that people have asked about.
right, that's one way to certainly do it. So it's between $650,000 and $700,000 a year, which is a decent chunk of money that we have to use. I kind of took broad off the list, really because that would be something we do likely in 2023 with federal aid. That's why we had to add it to the federal aid network. So we wouldn't want to do that one, but really any of these others, we could certainly at least get a more identified price on to know how they might fit. But like, with the sidewalk, even if we just did that sidewalk to connect to Marquette sidewalk, that they put in Inverness and Forest to Kensington, something like that. Or, I guess just looking for Trying to just give us something to start working on. At least the cost estimates.
Well, I think we should go with what people have asked about. I also am in favor of getting sidewalk on one side or the other.
Right.
So that there's a motion to get on the side. I said I'm in favor of getting sidewalk on one side or the other, at least one side of the street, in the areas that don't have any sidewalk. And I also am inclined to go with, after that, I'm inclined to go with what people have asked for. If there is a concern and people are wanting sidewalk, I think that we should take a look at that.
I agree with those thoughts.
Thank you.
So, the first one, Mill Creek Park Phase 2 Trail. Is that a priority? Since we're gonna have that funding process?
Well, it's an option, so we didn't get all the money we requested from the TAP grant, and we do have some general fund money set aside, but we could always use, because it's non-motorized path, we could use street funds for it as well, so it's just an option. Once we get the results of the trust fund and the connecting communities, we'll be able to tell how much we might need from roads. So it could be that maybe the first year, we put 100,000 or something towards Mill Creek Park Phase 2. But yeah, I mean, that would be, if we were going to do that, it would be
You want to finish
first.
that project?
Phase 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, we might need additional funds to be able to.
So you just get, it's just a marker, what you're saying?
Yeah, it's in case we need, it's another option. So I mean, council can always do general fund, but if in case council didn't want to take more out of general fund, we could take it out of roads. So it's an option.
Well, I think there's certainly a project there that's going to bud as soon as we.
What?
There's going to be a project, the Mill Creek Park Phase 2, I think is going to happen. It's just
Yeah.
a question, we got to know all the funding first. and
Okay.
Where it spends from A to what. You know, is it just
But it's at 187,000 we've got restricted for that.
yes.
And probably could be 220 plus we have to throw in.
Probably, I forget how much more. I mean, because the TAP award was about,
313.
yeah, it was about 200,000 less than we asked for. So. We have to see what the other sources plan.
Well, since my street's listed on here, I will certainly support the idea of a sidewalk there, because kids walk down the street all the time from school, right down the middle of the street, so it's that way since we live there. So it's not an issue for me. I can certainly take care of the snow, whatever I have to do, if somebody will. I guess the point is that if you're gonna do, Forest from Inthurst to Kensington, we should do Forest from Kensington to Baker Road, do the whole thing, finish it from one point to the other and get it done, so kids can walk on the sidewalk all the way, so I would clump those two together. And since there is, I never really knew where the sidewalk's gonna be, but there is a sidewalk that starts on Baker, that comes up Parkway and stops. It'll have to be the same thing that Ms. Fisher asked about along the road there where the big dip is, drop off there. It's a water issue we had at one time, so we'll have to figure that one out. And there is a sidewalk that's already been demanded for the people who live on the corner of Inverness and Forest. They already constructed that one, so that one, if they follow that line, on the inside of the poles there towards the street, I'm certainly supportive of that. I assume we're not talking about curb and gutter, we're just talking about sidewalks, correct?
Well, right, so that's kind of two separate issues. So if you have to
Right.
go to the sidewalk projects, I was thinking maybe 100,000 a year potentially could go towards a new sidewalk project. I'm not sure how far that gets us, but we'd have to look at that, depending on the complexities of the
Right.
retaining walls or whatever. And then the separate issue is the reconstruction projects. Some of them, I think would be curb and gutter, Hudson for sure. I think Grand would be, Dexter Crossing already is, that would be more like probably a crush and shape or just a regular reconstruction, I guess, inside
Yeah.
there.
We looked at it a couple years ago. Some of those streets, we thought maybe we could do a situation where we tried to keep some of the driveways and curb and just work on the base, which would be a more cost-effective fix than taking everything out. So we'll look at that closely. If those are one of the streets we'll look at, we'll get them.
Yeah, so the ones we've kind of talked about most recently were Hudson. I mean, I don't think anyone would argue with Grand, that's probably the worst road that we have. The DPW has a lot of concerns about how thin it really is and holding it together, and other couple of fishers. It's challenging. We haven't talked as much about Forest. We've talked about Dexter Crossing. They're getting close to being finished back there in construction. So I can see doing that in the next 3 years.
Well, my thought would be if you're going to, get a cost estimate for all of Forest for sidewalk, why don't you get a cost estimate for all of Forest for streets, since we're in the area? Not that we have to do them all at the same time, but it might be worth thinking
Well, it
about
could
it
be 2
in the
years
area.
from now, or 3 years from now, that we just do it all at the same time.
Right.
Isn't Grand Street a bigger priority than Forest?
Well, it could be, and he's just saying to get the cost.
I'm just saying to understand the cost.
We might want to do it at the same time.
It might make sense to program at the same time, you know what I mean?
And that could be maybe 3 years out, maybe we do Grand 2 years out, if people think that's a priority. I would say that would need to be one of the ones that we should do.
And for as many times as Mr. Murphy has come before us to talk about and ask about roads, I think we ought to get the costs for Bristol and,
Yeah, and we have a start on some.
and Kingsley over there, that's the ones Patrick's talking about.
Yeah, we have to start on a lot of that too. And we actually already have a cost for Hudson from Ann Arbor Forest, we have a bid price for that, so I mean, we already have that, we can put it up.
Right.
Yeah.
We did that already, so.
And there's logic to finishing that too.
Right.
I mean, since we started there, that's big. Just because we couldn't do it doesn't mean it still isn't.
Right.
It's set up
And
to
it
go.
could join with something else too, I mean, I don't know if the Dexter Crossing streets will be $600,000, you know, we have to just look at how much we have.
And I'm sure with sidewalks on Forest Street, that will not deter any of the runners that run up the hill all the time and down the hill all the time, because it's a favorite space for
That's
people.
quite a hill.
Yeah, they will be running that hill. Always suggest it's easier to go down right now, but they don't think that's very funny as I do.
No.
Can I add something?
Not mine.
Sure.
Grand Street, we also have a lot of sewer that needs to be done on Grand Street from Inverness all the way down to Kennedy. I don't know where that money's gonna come from, and I'm guessing it's gonna have to come from reserves. It's not gonna be part of anything to do with streets or sidewalks.
Right, so sewer would pay for that. So one of the things I think I mentioned somewhere was that, we're doing the Saw Grant televising. Some things have gone better than others, or it has gone better, so we have some extra funds. So we're going to, I gave them, they made a map of all the future projects so we can make sure we're doing everything underneath. And so we know we have an issue on Grand, right there, like by Wiley. There's a valley in that, on the line there that is another thing we talked about for going on 6-7 years now. So we're looking at that. I mean, the water main, fortunately, has been mostly taken care of except for seconds. But that's in the green belt anyway, I think. So we're in good shape there. But with the work they're doing, we'll know if, there's lining or repairs that need to be made along with the sewer, or along with the road work. And then, of course, the storm. But the storm's gonna be a consideration everywhere. There's a significant amount of storm work on Central. Actually, it's gonna get knocked out of Central. We talked a lot about storm water on Central. Yeah.
Does that give you enough direction to bring back stuff?
Yeah, I think we can start there.
Are there any other projects that are noted here or not noted that? This isn't final.
Right.
If you think about something later, we can always get more. I'm just trying
It's not like a
for the
huge
purpose of
rush.
tonight's discussion.
I just want to say it's exciting that we're getting to talk about putting in large chunks of sidewalks.
I agree.
That's pretty rare.
we've spent a lot of money on replacements, and I think we're in pretty good shape. I mean, there's always gonna be some that we're gonna tie into projects, and toe catches and things, but I think we've knocked out about $70,000 a year for the past 10 years on getting replacements done, so.
The way I noticed for the first time they went, because I know what the post office set up, and
Oh,
this
our
here,
area.
I got somebody off my back.
Right.
Somebody wanted, why everyone you haven't done it, somebody fell around it.
Yeah. Yeah, that one and the Dairy Queen and the by the porta potties. So we did a lot of the work this year, actually. We did a lot of sidewalk work. Really.
Okay, move on to L6. The L6 is the discussion of the tap fee reduction request from the schools. This was provided to all of us prior to the last meeting, I believe. The other letter was the 28th. Did you not get it? Oh, wow.
Go in.
Yeah, I got it. I'll go first on this. I think that the schools in the city have helped each other in different ways over the years. And there's many examples in this letter and some that maybe aren't even in this letter, but I don't think we should consider a reduction. I think it's a bad precedent. And I think they've known that they need to pay it. I think they are asking for help. I get that, but it just means that the city covers the cost of all of that on behalf of the rest of the district costs. And I think they could afford to do it.
The rest of the district is a lot bigger than the city.
That's what I mean. Right. And anyway, so I'm willing to discuss it and listen to hear other people's thoughts on it, but I think it sets a bad precedent, and I think we should not approve any reduction.
So can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
So what precedent is setting? Because the schools and schools, there's no other entity that I know of that would be similar, that would have the same philosophy to ask for this. Other than it's just the first time we're going to do it.
Well, we made the library pay for it. All of their tap fees. We didn't.
Yeah, but this, okay.
Oh, well, I'm just,
I got it.
I don't believe we've waived tap fees for.
Did they request a waiver?
No, I don't think they did, so.
So the library,
I think that we could offer them the same benefit that we've offered others. They could pay it over time. They could pay it over time, just like
okay.
other businesses or other people that have put up building additions or whatever.
Okay, I just want to know what the precedent was, because I don't see any other precedent other than when you mentioned the library.
Zach, I'm sorry.
No, I just popped my hand up. So I do understand they're paying, but things do cost money, and the tap fees are how we pay to fix and maintain the system. And if they don't pay it, then someone else is going to. And I'm pretty confident that this is actually less than what it costs for us to do, to fully maintain our system. We have to raise our fees to pay for this stuff. So I understand why they asked. I do support availing of the other options that other folks have been provided to pay it over time, so that doesn't punch them on the head. And that's my thanks.
What do they want to reduce it to? This letter just seems to go on circles.
No, it basically it says they want the 192 reduced.
From 232 to 192, or they want it lower?
They only want it to be the 48,000,
And what does that reflect exactly?
and then some amount of a refurb. So I think the 48,000.
It says six additional classrooms.
It's based on them assuming credits For Bates no longer being used as a school.
Right. It's no longer being used as a school.
For now.
That's what they're-
I mean, you know, the problem is 10 years from now or 5 years from now.
Wouldn't it be more appropriate to ask for this request when that doesn't affect the church?
Well, it would have been, I mean, if they had torn down Bates and built this school on top of what it was, like Grandview or the other places where we had given credits because the former structure is gone. But
And
in
they would
this
have had
case,
the credit.
we have no control over what they choose to do with Bates in the future.
That's correct.
So that's the,
And your ordinance is very clear.
Right.
That you don't pay, you don't
Yeah,
refund that.
Right.
And basically, that's what they're asking.
yeah, that's why I provided the resolution I meant to put it.
Additional street measure.
That's our current effective tax fee resolution.
What's the school one?
So the
It's
problem with their argument with Bates is if you were going to go with the fact that it's changing use, then we'd have to look at Bates. You'd have to look at Bates no longer as a school.
Correct.
And then as an office.
Correct.
And it may end up being even more for them. And we've done that calculation, but
Perhaps they should be presented with that number. Eight to the fair size school.
Is there anybody here that thinks that we should be doing that?
No, I was sitting when I got the original letter.
Yeah. I don't know what we need to do, but I think we should maybe move that, we ask the city manager to respond back to them and say, you know, politely.
I didn't get a copy, but they council comment.
You can say whatever on the letter.
No, I can't.
I think we should structure to say, you know, no, we're not willing to do that. Or something, some formal response since they sent us a formal letter. I realize it's a discussion item, but I think we could make a motion to do that.
So I'll support that.
So, motion by Michelle, second by Tel. Send the letter back saying we did discuss it, but we're not in favor of doing that. I'm sorry, Paul.
Now, how many of us, if you're willing to say it, confess it, were lobbied by either a school board member or a superintendent?
I was not, and I saw two of them personally.
You what?
I saw them in the store, neither one said a word. I saw Mr. Dar and I saw Dick Lundy, neither one brought it up.
I saw the superintendent brought up to me on election day. That's the last time, that's the only contact I've had from anybody on.
No school board.
I had contact.
That was pretty clear at that time, but I said the same thing that Dr. Tim said, that I said now, so maybe we're trying to lobby me.
I guess you lobby with contact, whatever.
I had contact, I called Chris Dennis to talk, the conversation, the call was to how to work on improving relationship between the city and the schools was the conversation. And then I was there, Jim Smith was there, and it was telling us all the reasons why, pretty much the content of the letter, and then suggesting how should they approach. Did we have a feeling about whether, they kept using the term catch the wind kind of thing, should they approach? So if that's what lobbying is, then.
But this Tris, no school.
No, Dick Lundy was there.
Okay.
But you got asked, you told me.
Yeah, but I came from the end.
Yeah.
Chris, I met with them.
Yeah,
So did I.
And I heard that they were gonna meet with you too, but they didn't know if that happened.
Meaning those two.
You could have just
Yeah,
asked me
yeah,
that. I would have just told you.
Yeah, no, well, I just wanted to get everybody else.
Feel a little left out.
No.
I don't know if that's an honor or.
It wasn't.
No, I didn't know, I mean, maybe the reason was that we were all, well, see what that word?
You have a history with, you guys are both alumni.
Yeah.
I have no history with them.
They didn't get a lot of enthusiasm.
So maybe that was, I don't know, but, I mean, I'm not passionate about saying it, somebody talked to me about it.
No, and I don't think that, I think responding back is the correct thing to do. I mean, this isn't meant to be a battle thing, I just think that we have a strong position of needing to collect the tap fees, that's why the resolution is set up that way, and everybody gets treated fairly, you know, in that regard.
And I would hope that in the letter that we at least include that, there, you know, that point, but also the point of that, if in fact we are concerned about the school being used, something, school-related in the future, we have no control over that, that should be included. And the third thing is that if we did decide that it is now office space, that the fees, if Michelle can do that, calculate could be high. So let them know everything that we discussed in the letter, it's possible to put it all in there.
And that we've decided not to put the bicycle lanes on that point.
Could throw that in there too, that's yes.
You have to remember, it's a give and take with them. They have a campus through the middle of our town, that's fine. We provide them sewer and water. I mean, they have to pay for it, but we've set it out there, and it's not into the city. With all in the high school, but they allowed us to put a well on there, so.
What do you think?
But it's been a give and take, so.
So, can I call the vote on that motion? Please?
Knight?
Yes.
Fisher? Dell? Shells?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Peasant?
Yes.
Keo?
Yes. Okay, thank you. Motion carries on that. Right, Matt. Last new business item is discussion of board commission salaries.
We got into this conversation last meeting on paying the ZBA. Research on sort of the history of payments, which is really interesting, actually. Looking at different things in state law and our law. Interesting that the planning and park salaries were originally established in '02, and then maybe those of you that were here in '05 might recall why it got brought up, where both the ordinances were specifically amended to include language that the ex officio not be paid. So that must have been an issue at that time, because, like I said, the ordinances were actually amended at that time. The definition of ex officio is a little bit interesting because it's used sort of on and off, so probably one thing we should do is sort of clarify how we're going to use some of the terminology. But there's different places that mention different things, so I guess if council wants to standardize who we're paying and who we're not going to pay, I just kind of wanted to provide this so you guys could think about what we're doing now and whether if you want to continue with this whole ex officio concept. You know, most of the time that's only council. The only exception to that is ZBA, where it's planning ex officio and a council ex officio, but nothing in the ZBA ordinance or state law uses the term ex officio. The ZBA person is referred to as a full member. The council rep and the planning commission rep are referred to as full members of the ZBA, not as ex officio. So I guess it probably could be different for ZBA than the other boards if you wanted to make it that way.
One other thing, if you excluded ex officio, if you excluded planning commission and city council from the $40 superintendent, that doesn't take away from what the act says, which is that they can be compensated through justice council.
Right, but that's the
How do all of the payments, all of us for whatever it is that we do you look at that at budget time, or you just review that? Because I'm starting to feel like, well, I'm not sure that paying a person for ZBA, that's more intense labor than it is to do ex officio for one of the other two. And so it made me start to feel a little uncomfortable with, what are we paying people for what they do? I mean, how do we, what's the qualifier?
So normally, it's basically the same number, 0 to 4, right? It doesn't change from year to year. The original rate of $20 and $40 was set, you know, many, many years ago back around '02. I think probably when Donna got here, she tried to standardize and at least get a lot of the stuff that was either happening or not happening figured out, because it seemed like a lot of things when I was going back happened in '02, which was, she got here in '01. So I'm thinking that that's connected. Whatever happened in '05 that raised this whole ex officio not getting paid, I'm assuming was maybe a gray area that they tried to clarify, and that was how they chose to do it. Well, like I said, with the ZBA, it is a little bit different because the council rep and the planning rep are referred to as members in their ordinance and in ours, or in the state law and in ours. I guess on one hand, you have the argument that people choose to run the council and that gives them extra meetings. On the other hand, they are attending the same meeting and doing the same thing as everybody else on the committee. Like, I could see it maybe if the ex officio didn't vote, them not getting paid. And sometimes ex officios, I think, don't vote. It just depends on, again, our use of the term has just been basically, as we're using ex officio as defining someone who's on there because they're a council person.
So just a council representative.
Right. But are we considering them to be regular members? I mean, I would consider like Ray to be a regular member of the Parks Commission because he votes just the same as everybody else. So, I don't know. Now, the budgetary impact of that is not extremely significant. 40 times 12 is, not an enormous number.
Might have to just look at the two ordinances to see whether they would need to be modified.
Right, so if council decided the council rep was gonna go pay, then yeah, the parks and planning ordinances would need to be amended to allow for that. Because right now, like I said, I mean, it is crystal clear that is not to happen. We bought a little time because ZBA isn't gonna meet for a while. Yeah, so.
Yeah, because it's a precedent for every board we have, so.
Well, the three that, we haven't talked about any more than just planning, parks, and ZBA. And I think those probably make sense because the rest of them are more committees or,
So those are the three that were mandated by our bylaws to be a part of it, right? Any more appointed to those.
The goal should be to set this up so that we start the next year with things in place.
Okay, so Ed, just as an updated discussion item, is there any further discussion you want to have? You want to provide it and come back? Do we have a recommendation? We have to not do anything? Say it, you want to see it again one more time in August and see what happens? Creative juices for 30 days, or what would you like us to do first? What do you do?
So I will say that I think I'm the person who picked the scab first. So my apologies, sir. Congratulations. I referenced the trail camera on the bike earlier, so. Wanted to tie that in. So I do think it's important for the ZBA to be similar to compensated, because that's they're acting in a quasi-judicial capacity, and that's serious. And people, when there's exchange of money, even though they're volunteers, that makes it a little bit brighter. I think generally philosophically, I think the planning commission member on the ZBA, they're doing the same work as a regular ZBA member. They have to be compensated for their time doing research, going to meetings, just like anyone else would. So I would say my spaghetti on the wall would be short term. We get the ZBA folks who are here to get paid now, and then we'll work for next budget year towards, if folks go to a meeting and other folks who are sitting at the table get compensated, they get compensated.
On the council. So you think the planning ex officio should be, the planning member of the ZBA should be paid, the council member of the ZBA wouldn't?
Not for right now.
So neither ex officio of the ZBA would get it for now?
That's my understanding of how we've got it. So that's kind of the bigger issue when it affects budget. I do think longer term we should work at that, because everyone here, we knew there are tons and tons of committees and we volunteered and we knew it. But there will be a time when it is prohibitive for folks with time constraints. You know, it takes a bunch of time to get ready for a ZBA well, or for a planning commission well. And there'll be folks who will look and say, that many meetings, I can't. You know, the time commitment and I have to work and make money. So maybe not short term, but long term kind of organizationally, that's a concern.
The role that those ACH committee members, that's labor intensive.
Nah, really.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It is. You know, they're the ones who run the plein air, and they're working with the kids to try to get rock painting going and chocolate. I mean, they work really hard, and we're not looking at that. So again, I think you gotta decide whether you're gonna do it or not do it.
I think the difference between that is planning and ZBA and parks are not mandated.
That could be.
Well, my suggestion would be for those that feel most strongly about the issue, and Zach, since you were the one that raised it a little bit. No, it's okay, it's okay. Perhaps for the next time this hits the packet, whenever that is, perhaps you could propose a motion in the packet based upon how you feel it should be. I mean, so that when we get to the discussion, we at least have something to think about, read about, and then either modify or go from. And if there's more than one person that has a motion, so be it. But you know, if we went to, let's say that, I mean, it's 3 weeks between now and the next meeting. Is that enough time for perhaps did you craft a motion?
Oh yeah, I can craft tons of motions.
Okay, well, we don't need tons.
Why not do it?
Put some meat on the spaghetti against the wall.
But what I'm trying to do is, instead of it coming in this form, this is good information, but maybe somebody can take a shot at what they want it to be, and the rest of us can think about that, and then.
We have the resolution, we can start with to pay the ZBA, because it should probably be our resolution. And then, I mean, that would take care of it in the interim, at least getting the other ZBA members paid, and then this, you know, and talk about. ZBA is 5 members, but the 2 would be, unless those 2 were the ones that were there, so then their alternates would take. So the most we could ever pay to go to ZBA is 5, still 5, but that's only if the planning and council ex officios were filled in by alternates. And they don't even meet, I mean, they haven't met for a while now. They don't, the soonest they can meet now is September. So that, like I said, buys us some time, because we had put it in the budget as of July 1 to pay them.
Okay, so we'll tentatively try to get this back on the agenda so we can get that in place. If there's something different than the Resolutions Act, maybe you can look your staff to bring something back to them. Is that okay there, right? Sure. That sounds fair? Yeah. Okay. Any further discussion on that? Council comments, Ms. Fisher? Mr. Tell?
No, thank you.
Mr. Tell?
I think there ought to be ordinance on construction equipment backing up, and they can't do that anymore. They can only go forward. Because I hear beeps all summer long, no matter where I am.
About 6 in the morning, too.
Yes, well, supposed to be 7.
Ms. Jones?
My one grandson, Liam, would like Mr. Schwab to take him down in the sewers and find the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles if they want to.
Say that one more time.
My grandson, he actually asked us, we were at the pool with Wiley today, he would like you to, he wanted somebody, I said, well, maybe Mr. Schwab could do this, take him down in the sewers and find the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Because they live in the sewers.
That's exactly where they live.
I think that's in New York, huh?
Yeah.
I haven't had any sightings.
Well, I thought they were taking it out to the vacuum truck and we're doing it, you know, see if they can.
Actually, they're dumping a lot of that down the driving bed. I mean, I can ask one of the guys.
That's got Eric written all over.
I'll bring him down someday, you guys, take him on a tour.
If you'd like to do that, I would do that, but yeah. I'll say I've seen it in Ninja Turtle. They must not float. Those turtles are
I'll say we're working on this, Liam.
I like that you're gonna turn it over to Eric.
We could try that.
We haven't seen so much of the grass there.
That will make the minutes interesting reading. That was good.
That was a good one.
It's a good thing Cole was here.
Mr. Michelle's?
First up, this Wednesday, Cap Dart is having a meeting at 7 o'clock. We have a bunch of folks in who do housing. Actually, 2 folks who do projects in Dexter City and environs, Norfolk and Jack Campbell, Norfolk Campbell. They're going to talk to us about perspective of the builder, developer, and what things keep them up at night and how we can make it easier for them to do things that we like them to do. I hope that in the near future we'll add youth committees discussion back to the agenda, perhaps in 3 weeks. And I also want to get something for the housing commission or committee or whatever we're calling it. So if anyone has thoughts on what they'd like to see in that.
I'm a citizen, I think, that lives here on the community, who's pretty interested in it.
For the house.
Yeah, because his son is expecting a baby and he can't put it. They wanted the son. Their hearts, they live up right near Grass Lake or someplace because they can afford it either.
So if you have any more thoughts on that, let me know. I hope to get something together. And I don't know what to say about the fire station. I've said it before, if it were easy, it would have been done 12 years ago. And it's intense because everyone wants to serve the community the best way possible. I do get the sensation, the first time I flew to Europe, the in-flight movie was Groundhog Day. I'd never seen it. I was awake and asleep throughout the thing. It was very confusing. It seems like we're having a lot of those discussions. I don't know how we can move forward. For those of you who disagree with me, I understand and try to learn and talk with you about your positions. And eventually, we're going to have to pull a Band-Aid. That's all that I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Knight?
I'm dropping, thank you.
Mr. Smith? Okay, we are back around to non-arranged participation. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak this evening? All right.
I'll make this very brief. Response to Mr. Michelle's comment earlier.
You are?
Oh, I'm
Address,
sorry.
sir? Please?
Concerned citizen.
What's your address?
37684 Lady Street, Livonia, Michigan. In response to Mr. Michelle's, we had a little discussion about the trail cam. The road commission actually has been putting their drone in the air, getting some photos. So if you go to the road commission website, there's a Baker Road update. They update about once a week.
Really?
So it has some pretty good information about where they're at. And the last photo on there was from a couple weeks ago. But I'm hoping that they'll get you another one up there just so you can kind of see what's going on.
I've been afraid to go down there because I heard somebody say that they'll throw you out if you go to look.
They will. It's a busy job site, and drone is probably the best way to see it.
I had a hard time.
I'm not gonna.
If you go to the cemetery, that's where I walk
Yeah,
around.
it's one cemetery.
They're not messing around with the cemetery.
Far safer than the roadway
Yeah.
with tow clips.
Anything else?
That's it.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, we do have, what's Victor?
There's another.
Oh, it's other. I like it.
79394 Street. I just there was a question about Grandview, whether the testing company was there. I got a text that they were there both days.
Oh, good.
Thank you, Patrick.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, any other interested citizens?
It's supposed to be Northern Lights tonight.
Okay.
Okay, well, we do have a closed session on the agenda. Discuss potential purchase of property in accordance with MCL 268.
I'm going to do that.
Move to go into closed session by Jack, second by Fisher. Get our updates. 23, okay. Clear the room.